Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry about the little bit of delay there. Wasn't anything issue. No worries about that. Hope everyone's doing good. Welcome to the show today, guys. We are coming to you live from my sister's old bedroom in Richardson, Texas, because of, current situation. Nothing new. That's kind of accordingly the thing. It's kind of becoming normal, don't y'all think? I was thinking about that. I was like, we are officially at week 4 of this, I think. Yeah, I think it's like the fourth week we've been doing live streams now. It feels like it's been ages and a half. It has definitely been something normally by now I was talking to some people like, hey, we should be setting into some routines right about now. Things should be kind of going a little normal. It shouldn't be as weird anymore, and it's not. It's anything but. Like, it is just still kind of insane. I'm making games for myself. I'm at a point now where I'm like, hey, let's not even trim this until this whole thing blows over. So if you see Mike with like a full beard down to here when this whole COVID thing is over, you know why. It's because he's not shaving. We're gonna see how thick this bad boy can get by the time it all blows over. Yeah, so I know it's been. I'm already laughing to myself. It's been nuts. Yeah, but thank you for all tuning in. Very much appreciated. It's great to see you all, even if it is from a distance. I just want to thank God once again for the ongoing technology that allows us to connect. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and get right into some fun stuff. I gave y'all a challenge last week. That's kind of a reoccurring thing. I feel like I'm gonna readjust this real quick. I feel like that's a reoccurring thing. Every week I'm going to give you guys something. Let's see what you do because I want to see what you guys are up to. It's not like before where I can just chit chat with y'all and see, hey, how's your week or spend time, so on and so forth. So we got to be a little creative. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, we were like, okay, guys, I want to show you Lego creations. Well, this past week, I was like, all right, guys, I want to see what games you guys are doing. I said board games. Doesn't have to be board games, of course. I was like, I want to see what you guys are doing. We got some really, really cool submissions. I'm really excited to see. So, but first things first, of course, let's go ahead and give the shout out to all those who stood out, everyone who sent stuff in. Ruby, once again, coming in clutch with the girls, showing what she's been up to. She's been going crazy with this massive bubble right here. That is awesome. As a kid, I used to be able to dream of doing something like that. So she has some great artwork going with the bubbles. That is awesome there. But she wasn't done. No, Ruby had to be an overachiever. She's like, I'm not going to send one. I'm going to send you two. So it looks like she's actually playing a game of hopscotch going on. Or Connect. Okay, maybe it's Twister. Really can't quite tell what game that is. Either way, you can see the chalk designs on there. She looks like she's having no problem entertaining herself during this whole thing going on. We got the massive bubble and we got the chalk going on. So, way to go, Ruby. Thanks for submitting that in. Awesome work on your part. You got to teach us all how you're entertaining yourself because the rest of us are going a little nuts here. But she is not the only one. Hang on, I'm seeing something on the meter. Got to correct that. She's not the only one going on. We also got more from Abby Overby, actually. Looks like we have her playing a great game of Clue with her and her sisters. Yeah, that's her and her sisters are playing Clue. Great classic game for the family. I think I'm playing it wrong though, because when I play with my friends, that's the kind of game that destroys friendships. We start accusing each other of things. We really hoping as it. But here's the real mystery. We see her playing Clue with their sisters. But here's the real mystery. She never sent in who won. She never sent in who did it. So that is maybe possibly the ongoing mystery that we're really not quite sure how this story is going to end. Maybe who knows? Who knows who did it? Was it who did it? Who will know? Was it in the library with the lead pipe? I guess we'll never know. But thanks to everyone who submitted stuff in. We're actually going to have two challenges this week. I'm excited for this one. But yeah, we're going to have two challenges. But thanks to everyone who submitted in. That was the game challenge going on to send me stuff in. Of course, you're always going to send stuff in to students at fellowshipforney.org. I'm going to post a link on Facebook to remember you guys so y'all can go ahead and do that. This week's challenge. I've heard some crazy stories, and of course, I tuned in for the Harbor Live last night. That's kind of where I got this idea. I was thinking about myself. I was talking to my buddies about it. I'm noticing across the board, everybody who's going through this isolation quarantine thing, all of our diets are going out the window. We're all snacking like crazy. So that is challenge one. Challenge one for this week is send me what crazy snacks you guys are drinking. Me, I'm one of those who normally I'll have maybe at most one soda a day. Now I'm definitely doing that. It's like congested more like little Debbie snacks more than anything. Might get a little bloated. I'm already getting ready to stock up for the winter, and we still got 8 months ahead. So that is Mike's thing. But yeah, I want to see what junk food you guys are eating. What is your diet consisting of nowadays? I heard the other day, on Hardcore Live, we had someone who's eating a lot of pizza rolls, of course. I've heard some other people saying they're just eating a lot of candy, going to Walmart. Is one of my college buddies, of course, going through getting little handles. I want to see what y'all's diet is at this point. Maybe that's a little weird, I know, but I just think that's hilarious. That's a really common topic I'm hearing from a lot of people. So, yeah, now I'm eating this, now I'm eating that. So, I want to see is send the photos, of course, in the students at fellowship40.org. We do have another challenge, of course. We're actually going to have 2 this week. You can submit for 1 or submit for 2. That's up to you guys, leaving it up to you guys. The second challenge I'm going to drop to y'all right now. I got this idea earlier in the week. Hang on, let me check one more thing real quick. Okay, cool. Everything's going good. I got this idea earlier in the week. As y'all know, 5th and 6th graders, we started community groups on Google Hangout this past weekend. Girls are meeting at 5:30 on Sunday. Boys are meeting Saturdays at 1 o'clock. I was hanging out with the boys for a little bit, and funniest thing happened. As we were all having Google Hangout, my dog jumped on my lap and just had to make herself known into the camera. And then next thing I know, one of the other kids brought his cat in, and then Eric brought his dog in, then AJ brought his in, and next thing you know, we have a full, Google Hangout going with all of our animals in there. That is a second challenge, probably a little more doable, is I want to see how you guys are hanging out with your pets. Are y'all bonding? I want to see, it could be a video, of course. That would be awesome. Actually, I'd love to see a video of you guys, what you guys are doing with your pets. It doesn't have to be a dog or a cat. It could be a fish, hamster, lizard, spider, if you're into that kind of thing. The only thing's not allowed is snakes. Snakes not allowed. No, I'm just kidding. Snakes are totally allowed if you have one. But yeah, I want to see how you guys are hanging out with your pets during this time. I got this idea from the boys. We all had a Google Hangout for about a couple minutes with all of our dogs, and 1 cat. So I want to see that. I want to show you. I want to see what you guys are doing with your animals. Please send that in. Students at fellowship40.org. I'm going to go ahead and post a link on Facebook later this afternoon about that. So those are the 2 challenges. I want to see how you guys' diet is affected during this whole thing. I want to see how you guys are hanging out with your animals. That is 2. Get excited to see what you guys all been doing great with these challenges, sending some stuff in. I am super excited to see what is next for next week. So now it's the crazy part. Last week, as y'all remember, I tried and failed to show an interview from one of our other students. And it just lagged and up. It was this, and it was super embarrassing, for me at least, not so much for the student. But the good news is I went in and I cleaned stuff up. And when I mean clean stuff up, I mean I switched to a different computer. That's a PC that's better for this kind of thing. So without further ado, I would like to continue my interview from last week with local filmmaker and owner and operator of King James Studios, Josh Ream.
Josh. Hey there? Josh. Here. Dude! How long are you back there?
I actually was over there, so it's my friend Steve, so yeah.
Tell Steve, you know what, if he's a negative influence on you, you can't just scare people like that. Hang on, give me a minute. Hang on. Gotta warn someone before you do things like that, man.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay, don't worry, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm good. Alright, so, other than that, how are you this morning?
I'm good.
How you doing in the quarantine and everything?
Okay.
Glad to hear. You know, surviving okay?
Yes.
Cool. So, of course I ask this for a lot of people, but I think I know the answer for you. So, what have you been doing to entertain yourself lately? But, rumor mill has it that you're kind of a filmmaker. Not even a rumor mill, more like confirmed.
This week of yes. Then 2 episodes. And to answer your question, I've been playing Monopoly with my sister, so...
Gotcha. Yeah, well, tell us a little more about the film stuff, man. Tell us a little more about it. It's called Lego Minecraft Adventures, is that right?
Right, yes.
Oh, yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
So, it all began in 2015. I met this guy named Steve.
Mm-hmm. Isn't he the main character of the show?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So y'all had a really long working relationship.
Yes. We've been trying to work something out for 5 years. And this year, 2020, we decided he goes in Minecraft and he does stuff. He meets characters, different players. So yeah.
Okay, cool beans, man. So you've worked together for a long time. Is there any awkwardness at all of things y'all think y'all worked together so long it's pretty smooth by this point?
With
Okay, cool. So, overall it's pretty good then.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. So tell us a little bit about the show. Like, tell us a little about the story-wise. What really started it? Let's go there. Well, obviously, you said you met Steve, and y'all just kind of like, let's do a show.
Yeah. That was actually pretty much what started it. So, yeah.
Okay, cool beans, man. Awesome. So I understand that you have episode 1 and 2 out. Do you have any idea when episode 3 is gonna be coming out?
It could come today, tomorrow, or the day after. Today, tomorrow, yeah.
So any one of those 3, today, tomorrow, or Saturday, any one of those 3.
Yeah. It could be next week, so depends on how much I work on it. It's gonna be 2 minutes, so yeah. Right now I'm at a minute, so it should be today.
Alright, gotcha. So how many episodes do you think for season 1?
It's gonna be 20.
Around 20 episodes. Okay, cool. How far do you really see the show going?
I can see it ends at season 5, and that probably would be at 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be having a year of stop motion. Each season I'm gonna take a month break, so yeah.
Of course, I understand. You need that. As a busy man, you need to take a break in between. So, of course, Hollywood rumor has been going on that there's a couple spin-offs planned with Lego Minecraft. Can you confirm those?
I can confirm 2, and I'm actually thinking about 1 more, so...
No, so we're going to have 3 total spin-offs. So 2, possibly a 3rd.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about those.
So, the one that I'm thinking about, it might be about this zombie pigman that he came from the nether and he wants to be an actual zombie. But the zombie wants to be a pigman. So that's what I'm thinking about. And the other 2, maybe one that's gonna be spinning off of this dude. This is the new dude. He comes to episode 3, so he's pretty new.
And what?
Jay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And he's gonna have his own series before he met Steve. So another one is gonna be about Pillager. Bad thing about Pillager is this. The one villagers. So yeah, those are series that I plan. So yeah.
Alright,
Sounds like you're a very, very busy man. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Alright,
So of course. Actually, I'll get to that question in a little bit. I heard that you actually build all your own sets. Is that right?
It's true.
Alright, how long
How did you get the supplies to do that? I mean, of course, in the world of filmmaking, you hear like directors do their thing, set build there, and you're doing all of that. Like, is that overwhelming at all, or?
Not really, because of the coronavirus gave me time to we're not going anywhere, so I have all the time I need to, but I have school and all that, so that's the only problem about this, but I have all the time I could need to build. It's like taking a day to build the scene, so yeah.
Okay, cool beans, man. So tell us, as a young filmmaker, of course, what's probably the most expensive set piece that you have out there?
It's called, I can't remember the set name, but it's 2017. It's called the Mountain Cave. It's a Lego Minecraft set, and it retails for $365. 60.
My
My wallet is screaming just hearing that number.
I got it for my birthday that year, so yeah.
Oh,
okay, good.
Okay, so
Good deal. And now we're talking.
I like that.
I like that.
I definitely
I definitely like that, man.
Sorry, I just
saw a fly in the room. I was like, what is that doing there? I'll handle ADD over here to like the 10th degree. Of course.
So
tell us a little about the stop motion process. How does that normally work?
You pause it, so it will say they take a picture every move.
Every
single move.
Yeah, like this.
So
as a man who takes on stop motion, would you describe yourself as one who's very patient?
Yes.
On a scale of
1 to 10, how high is your patience?
8.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. See, this is why I don't do stop motion. Mine's probably about a 0.5.
It was easy, everybody do it. So yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Thank you for that. I needed that pick me up today. No, I completely understand that. I completely get where you're coming from. So, of course, one thing I've been hearing around the rumor mills, I don't know if you've heard this, so can you confirm or deny any shared cinematic stuff with the Lego movie?
I cannot deny or confirm.
Okay,
so are you just saying that? Are you being humble, or is this kind of one of those things where it could be a real thing?
No, it's not like the Lego Mario scene. So no, I don't know anything about it. So yeah.
Got it.
What about the thought, we're getting a little excited. I've heard some Oscar nomination things. How's that feel?
I don't know.
I'm a very humble man. I can respect that. I can definitely respect that.
Okay,
so just a couple, fun things here and there, just to let some of the fans know the filmmaker of Josh, they can know a little bit about you. So, just curious, in your professional opinion, who would win in a wrestling match, taco or hamburger?
Taco.
Okay.
Go on. Please explain why.
He has spices.
Spices.
What if the burger has spices?
I don't know. They might tie up, but I know Taco's gonna win anyway. So.
I understand.
I'm like that too. I'm not at all biased, but I love tacos, so I think the taco would definitely win. Definitely. So, just one more quick thing here.
Is a hot dog
considered a sandwich?
No.
Go on.
Because it's not covered if it rains. Rains anything, it won't be covered. So the hot dog itself would not. It would be wet. But anyways, it would be wet if it was a sandwich. But still, sandwich is covered. Hot dog's not covered. Hot dog has one bun. Sandwich has 2 bread buns. Yeah. So.
I
understand. So, real quick, just one. This is take your time thinking about this one. Of course, it's a very deep question. How violently do you have to fight the urge to scream when you hear the ice cream truck coming around your neighborhood?
It kind of gets me off track. So yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how violent do you have to fight that urge?
7.
I'm more like a 15, but
he doesn't.
Mine doesn't come around my neighborhood anymore.
Mine when I first moved here did, but not really anymore. Especially the coronavirus. So.
Of course.
That COVID right there really brings out all the fun times. I mean, I'm supposed to be watching baseball today. Clearly, that's not happening.
Yeah.
What can you do the second week in a row? I have to bring that up.
I'll be done crying in a minute. So thank you for your time, Josh. Appreciate that. We're all looking forward to seeing the future adventures of Steve and Lego Minecraft Adventures. Can't wait for episode 3 to drop and the rest of the series as well. So while I got you on, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Cameron Weiser, he gives me ideas to do stop motion and videos on my channel. And the second one is Jacob Overby. He created my account, and yeah.
Gotcha. Shout out to Jacob Overby for all the digital stuff, and Cameron Weiser, my SpongeBob buddy, as I call him, because we always quote SpongeBob. So, alrighty, well, I'm sure to be glad to hear that. Thank you for your time, Josh. Looking forward to hear the future adventures.
Thank you.
Alright, best of luck on the rest of the show, man. Alright, take care, sir.
You too.
All right, and like I said, that was an exclusive interview I did with Josh. Super nice, super humble dude. Really glad, looking forward. Like I said, his YouTube channel is King James Lego Minecraft Adventures. Look that up. Super talented considering we're on week 4. Things are finally going smooth for me. That kid knows what he's doing. It is some awesome stuff, guys. So before we dive into today's lesson, we're going to do one more segment real quick. Something I thought of probably 20 minutes before we decided to go on air. Do a little segment called Did You Know? Where these little facts that I think it's very important for everyday life that we should all know. Feel free to comment. This might blow your mind a little bit. You can take something back. Be like, hey, I learned something today. So, first one. I just have a couple. It won't take too long. Did you know that the Supreme Court has its own private basketball court, complete with a nickname. Yeah, Supreme Court has its own private basketball court. It's on the top floor of the Supreme Court building. The name? Highest court in the land. Look it up. You don't believe me? Look it up. We also got another one. Did you know a football fan once dedicated his obituary to insulting an NFL team? Apparently, a lifetime Cleveland Browns fan and longtime season ticket holder in his obituary requested for 6 Cleveland Brown pallbearers. His reason for this is so the Browns can let him down one last time. That is some commitment to insulting a team you love at the same time. Just look out. Student pastor, huge Cleveland Browns fan, according to him, lifelong as of 2018. There you are, Blake. There's an idea for you right there. You know, if it comes down to it, you can just go ahead and use that. They can let you down one last time as well. Here's a good one, actually. This one is kind of insulting. I'm actually not insulting, sorry, funny. There is a technical fear of long words. Yeah, I'm sorry, let me reword that. There is actually, there's a word that describes a technical fear of long words. Do you know what the word is? This one, right here. That word. I cannot even say that. 2 things when you look at that, when you realize that there's a fear of long words and this is the word to do it, you know the guy who came up with this was being a bully. You know he just was like, I'm going to have people confront their fear. Well, that's going to be my 3rd challenge this week. This one just for fun, not just for the core kids, parents. If you want to try to send a video of you saying that word. I'm just curious. I can't do it. That is beyond me. It is something else. But try to say that word, the one right here. I would love to see a video of you guys trying to do that. That's amazing. So, on to the next one. So, did you know someone actually paid $10,000 for invisible artwork? It was a sculpture by actor James Franco. Yeah, the James Franco. He's, Harry in the Spider-Man movies. Remember him with Tobey Maguire a long time ago, the old OG Spider-Man movies? He apparently was able to sell to an art collector an invisible sculpture billed as an endless tank of oxygen, also known as air. So, to anyone who may know who this art collector is, if he's interested, since he's willing to spend $10,000 on an invisible sculpture known as Endless Tank of Oxygen, I have a jar of wind that I captured. It's an empty jar, captured the wind in a jar. I'm willing to send that to him. This is that, right there. If he's interested in that kind of thing, he can actually show. It's a little easier to describe to people as far as I can tell. Give him my number if he's interested. I have a jar of wind if he would love it. Since he's willing to pay $10,000 for that, I got him right here. So this is my favorite right here. Did you know that for President Coolidge, 30th President of the United States, he was known to have a childish sense of humor? So apparently this president, every president, they have a buzzer in their office. It's like an emergency buzzer. This president, Coolidge, was known to push the emergency buzzer on his desk that signifies he's in trouble, and he would hide when Secret Service came coming. That is a show I'd pay money to see. That sounds amazing. I have a whole new respect for Coolidge. That is something worth checking out. Let's be honest, that's something I would do. I'm not going to lie, I would totally try it. I want to test that, and then I'd give them critiques afterwards. I'd be like, great response time, guys. Y'all were a couple seconds faster. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. So, and lastly, the last did you know for today. Did you know that cows moo with regional accents? Like, you know how there's like the British accent, the Scottish one, the Mexican accent. Cows apparently moo with a regional accent. Apparently in herds of small populations, you would encounter identifiable dialectal variations of the moo. I'm going to be honest, that one really fascinates me. That one really, really does. I want to talk to the scientist who decided to do this. I want to know what caused you to really go make this an experiment in the first place. What really inspired this? I want to know the process behind it. I'm really curious of how he did it and the comparison. That is, that's a wild time in my opinion. Recording the different movings of cows. That was probably the most interesting in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead. We're just going to go ahead and dive into today's lesson now. So we'll start with prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for this time. As always, thank you for these students who are tuning in time out of the day. and they just want to dive into your word strictly to hear about you, learn about you, to hear about the great things you've done, and apply it today, especially at a time right now where really not quite sure what's going on or how long or anything, but we're just trusting in you. We realize that we hear these stories of the great things you've done, that you'll get us through this time, and pretty soon to the point we'll be able to meet again. In glorious name I pray, amen. So, last week, for those of y'all who remember, we talked a little bit about, we've been talking about David. We talked about how Saul rose to power, well, not rose to power, he was anointed king. Then how he was dishonorable, lost favor with the Lord. Samuel, the prophet who anointed Saul, found David. David killed Goliath. And now last week we talked a lot about the bromance between David and Jonathan, and how Jonathan met David and instantly loved him as he loved his own soul. And at that point gave him his robe, gave him his sword, gave him his armor. He was like, dude, we're bros. We got this. And that was something that continued. So, and as you remember, Jonathan was Saul's son. He was the prince, Saul's son, the heir to the throne. So we talked a lot about what's going on with David and Jonathan during this point, but let's talk about Saul for a bit. Let's talk about his point of view, or what things are going on his side of things. So, as you remember, right after David killed Goliath, Saul and David had a long talk, and that's where David was brought into King Saul's service. And we were talking about how Saul was very impressed by David and how everything he did was successful. But unfortunately, that didn't last. One thing we talked about last week was that when David would enter the city, people would sing songs when he was with Saul. Saul has struck down thousands, and David his tens of thousands. We talked a lot about how Jonathan had to feel being the prince under Saul, and he wasn't even mentioned in these songs. Let's talk about Saul, though. Like, we talk about how awkward for Jonathan, or how comfortable, but what about Saul? I mean, yeah, Jonathan wasn't mentioned in there, but Saul was kind of called out by name. Especially humans, we're kind of a competitive race. I feel like if someone were to mention that, he did this, but this guy over here did that much greater thing, that would be like, well, hold on here. I could do that. Like, and especially when you really think about it, Saul's the king. He's supposed to be the main idea of these songs. People are supposed to be talking about him, how great he is. Like, on paper, it should be like David killed thousands and Saul these tens of thousands. But no, people were singing the opposite of that. How would that make you guys feel that you're the king of your kingdom and you have this shepherd boy who you just brought into your service because you liked him, and people are talking about how great he is? They're saying you're good, but this guy is great. This is illustrated in verse 8 in 1 Samuel chapter 18. And Saul was very angry, and the saying displeased him. He said, they have ascribed David to tens of thousands. To me, they've ascribed thousands. And what more can he have but the kingdom? That's where all this suspicion that Saul started to have kind of started to come into place. That's where he was very much like, oh, okay, hold on. If he wants all this, are you going to want the kingdom? Is he going to want to take it from me? He was getting concerned about his throne. But here's something to think about. Yeah, we all know the story. We know that David is going to be king one day. We know where he's going to end up. Like, Samuel anointed him king. God chose him as king. He's known after a man after God's own heart. But nowhere in this whole story is David planning on overthrowing. If I remember correctly, David went back to herding the sheep. He was going to do that. He wasn't going to, he didn't make a plot. He didn't immediately be like, look how great I am. I don't have to herd these sheep. I don't have to be a shepherd. No, he was humble. He was going to be patient. He was going to wait on God's timing. We've talked about that a lot, multiple times in the year. Wait on God's timing. He will do these things. He will do it in his way. David trusted, and that was enough. But Saul just got concerned because of everything that happened. He got concerned about these songs. He's like, no, I will not stand for this. He immediately started to question David's loyalty here. And that builds up. I mean, every time he goes somewhere, that builds up, building over and over again. We've all been to that point where something's annoying at you, eating at you. It doesn't go away. Really does not. You have to do something about it. Saul wasn't doing anything about it. And one day, it hit a point. In verse 10 or 11, the same chapter 18, it says, the next day, a harmful spirit from God rushed upon Saul, and he raved within his doubts while David was playing the lyre, as he did day by day. Lyre's an instrument. David was playing this instrument every single day. In fact, it was one thing that got David into Saul's court. He liked the way he played lyre. Saul had his spear in his hand, and he hurled the spear, for he thought, I will pin David to the wall. But David evaded him twice. Saul tried to kill David. He lost it. Imagine that. David is playing the lyre, minds of it, and Saul just loses it, takes a spear, and just throws it. I'm trying to pin David to the wall. I mean, imagine David. He's probably thinking, you could have just said, stop playing the lyre. You could have just said, stop. No, Saul went out to kill him. But here is the crazy thought. David still returned to service after that. He was so loyal to Saul because he was the anointed, God's anointed king. He looked the other way, offered grace, and he stayed in service to him. And Saul recognized as David remained in service that the Lord was with him. That's uncomfortable. Imagine that you are the king of Israel, the Lord's anointed king of Israel. You lose that favor, and you see that favor with not just somebody else who you think is going to take the throne from you. That is already taking an insecurity and tripling it right there, because you realize the unbeatable, unmatchable, invincible God is with somebody else, not you, and if anything, is someone else who is in line to take the throne from you. That is crazy. So Saul had a great idea. He's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fix this. He gave David a promotion and made him captain of 1,000 army. He wasn't rewarding him. I'm going to keep this in mind. Yeah, he gave him a promotion. This was not a promotion. Yes, it was technically, but this wasn't because he liked David. He was trying to set up David for failure. This is number 2, trying to set David up for failure, make him captain of the army and sending him to dangerous areas because he wanted him dead. He said, I'm going to put you here, and in the back of his mind, he is hoping that he will die. He's hoping that maybe he will fall in battle. But there was kind of a small thing that Saul forgot. He forgot that David had the Lord with him. So, of course, anywhere David goes, he was successful. So he's going to these dangerous areas, going with this huge army, and he is winning. He is conquering. He's doing what he wants them to do. People are loving it. People are glorifying David for what he is, and they recognize that God is with them. David's giving glory to God. So that makes Saul even angrier. So he has a new plan. Same verse, same chapter, verse 17. Then Saul said to David, here is my elder daughter Merab. I will give her to you for a wife. Only be valiant for me and fight the Lord's battles. For Saul thought, let not my hand be against him, let the hand of the Philistines be against him. So basically, he's going to give David a wife, his daughter. He's going to make him part of the family. Great thing, it looks like. But he says, no, I'm going to send you into battle first. That is what you have to do. And he's hoping to set him up. And he says, and even with that, there's more. There's a condition. Not only are you going to have to go into battle, you can only have my daughter's hand in marriage if you kill 100 Philistines. When you go into battle, you have to kill 100 Philistines. Only if you kill those 100 will I give you my daughter's hand in marriage. Not 99, 100. No less. 100 is the minimum I need. And in this problem, Saul is hoping that with this, he'll get angry, go for the 100, and he will be killed, and the problem would sort itself out. Once again, the problem backfired. David ends up killing a couple hundred Philistines, and he brings back proof too. David continued having more successes, which made him more and more well-known, and Saul's hatred for him grew. And of course, like we talked a little bit about that last week, Jonathan was kind of caught in the middle of this. He's stuck between his best friend, who he's like, oh no, we promised we're going to be friends forever. That is the promise I made. And he's caught between loyalty to not just his king, his father. Jonathan is just right in the middle. And this is where we ended up last week. We talked about in verse 19, Saul tells Jonathan he wants to kill David, and Jonathan warns David and tries to speak good things about him to King Saul. He tells him, remember all the good things David did for us. He's great. He's not trying to do it. If you do this, you are killing an innocent man. He goes, you are going to spill innocent blood, and it'll be your fault. It will not be anyone, but it'll be your fault. He's telling this to his father. So Saul, after this, this is where we ended. He just told him this. So Saul at that point swore not to kill David. After all that, he said, okay, you're right. David's good. I'm not going to kill him. That was that. They agreed. David came back. They're friends again. Worked out. For a bit. More time passed. And of course, Saul got insecure again. And he tried to kill David again. Same thing. Threw a spear at him. David had to run. It got to a point where David had to flee for his life and go into hiding. So this is what we're going to look at. We're at chapter 20. Jonathan is talking to David. about this idea since David's worried for his life. So if you look at chapter 20, 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 18, starting in verse 18. Then Jonathan said to him, tomorrow is the new moon, and you will be missed because your seat will be empty. On the third day, go down quickly to the place where you hid yourself when the matter was in hand, and remain beside the stone heap. I will shoot 3 arrows to the side of it, as though I shot at a mark. And behold, I will send the boy, saying, go find the arrow. If I say to the boy, look, the arrows on the side of you, take them, then you are to come. For as the Lord lives, it is safe for you, and there is no danger. But if I say to the youth, look, the arrows on beyond you, then go, for the Lord has sent you away. And as for the matter of which you and I have spoken, but the Lord is between you and me forever. So basically, it's simple. Jonathan had a routine. He shoots these arrows, archery practice. He has someone go with them. Of course, I don't know how many of you guys have done archery. Normally, like I was in the scouts growing up, when you do archery, you shoot, and you have to go back and get the arrows yourself. You have to wait till everyone else stops shooting. Everyone takes a minute. They look at their scores. They bring the arrows back, and they do it again. Jonathan's a prince. He has someone go do that for him. He can sit, go get water, or someone else go at the archer or at the arrows. So what's going to happen is Jonathan shoots the arrows. The kid's going to go get them, and he's going to say, the arrows are over here. That's a sign David's going to be listening in a hidden place where no one can hear him, that it's okay. He could say that he's going to come back. Everything's going to be fine. There is no danger. They're convinced that Saul is not going to kill him. But if there is danger, when Jonathan shoots these arrows, he's going to say, no, you have to go further. You have to go away. That's a sign that David has to go into hiding. But that is if Saul wants to kill David. That is if. Jonathan's going to find out. He just mentioned that there's a new moon dinner. David is expected to be there, but of course he won't be. And he's going to gauge Saul's reaction. If Saul gets angry that David is not here, that's where that plan's going to set in motion. That's how he's going to signal. He's just going to kind of read the room and figure out. So the plan was set. They understand. They got it. So the day of the new moon comes. Jonathan goes to his seat with Saul. Saul is there. David's not there. Saul doesn't say anything. Everything's fine. A-okay. They're thinking, okay, good. It's fine. They go on. Day 2, however, it comes up. David's still not there. Saul still notices. So he looks at Jonathan. He goes, hey, where's David? David's not here. He should be at the meal. What's going on? Where's he at? So Jonathan tells him, he goes, oh, he couldn't make it in. He requested to go home for a sacrifice, so he had to be with his brothers, so he won't be able to make it. So Saul lost it. He just completely blew up. He says in chapter 20, 31, for as long as the son of Jesse lives on the earth, neither you or your kingdom shall be established. Therefore send and bring him to me, for he shall surely die. Basically, don't forget, David, Jesse's his father. He's saying, neither you nor kingdom shall be established. He is telling him, as long as he lives, your throne is in jeopardy. Your throne's in jeopardy. How can you just let him do that? He is trying to steal the king. He is basically calling Jonathan a traitor. He's saying, you are choosing me over him. You're lying. How dare you do this? How dare you? If Jonathan had any doubt at this point about Saul wanting to kill David, I'm pretty sure that established it. I think it's gone. I don't think there's any more doubt. I think this was enough information for him that Saul had to explode for him not being there. And he had to call his own son a traitor. That's intense. That is intense. I think we all agree where Saul knew it, and I think Jonathan knew it by this point too. So the next morning, Jonathan went to the appointed time to the field where he's going to do archery. David's in hiding. Jonathan shoots the arrows. The youth goes to get them, and David's listening. Hears Jonathan say, the arrows are a little further on. You have to keep going. So the youth keeps going further. And that's where David comes out. The boy can't hear him. They have their moment of bromance. Obvious that things are going a little south. David has to go into hiding. Imagine that someone who you call almost like a brother, love is your own soul, and you say, I can't see you anymore. I can't be here. David's going away for a long time, and it's not like week, 2 weeks, not like your friend goes away for a month or two. This could be permanent. They realize they may never see each other again, especially if this hunt goes on the way it is. Somebody could die, and they recognize that. It's obvious that David needed to go into hiding. So in, of course, 42, they have their little moment. Jonathan said to David, go in peace, because we have sworn both of us in the name of the Lord, saying, the Lord shall be between me and you, and between my offspring and your offspring forever. They have their bro thing, and David goes on his way. Notice what he says. He said, "The Lord is between us." They recognize that the Lord brought their friendship together. They realize that the Lord was the root of it all. That it was that's what binded them. We talked about that a lot. Fellowship, being there for each other. We talk about sometimes going out of your way for them, putting them first. That's a big thing we've been doing. Jonathan's been doing that, and I think he really did that in an extreme way. There was no subtlety here and there. There was no, oh, let's maybe you can do it. No, he had to make an extreme choice. He had to really kind of put it out there. Last week we talked a lot about, oh yeah, here's the cool things that he did. Here's what he did for him, what it worked out. No, this was one of those do or die moments where Jonathan had to choose, okay, someone here is going to get hurt and I need to make the right one. He knew his father was wrong, so he chose the relationship of his friend who was with God at that point because of the agreement the Lord had with him. He put David first and warned him so he wouldn't die, even though he knew it would anger his dad. He knew that it would make him look like a traitor. He did it anyways, and David had to go into hiding. And of course, in the agreement, the Lord shall between me and you, between my offspring and your offspring. That's saying it's a generation that's going to come. Our kids will still respect that agreement that we have. Our relatives after us will respect the agreement we have. Basically, they're saying whatever happens, we will look out for each other. This is the agreement that they have, that if something were to happen to Jonathan or something were to happen to David and they have children in there, they're going to look after their families. They're going to make sure they're taken care of. That is how deep that bond is going to go. That is how deep he's going to still put him first, not just him first, his family first, like everyone after him. He's putting that whole generation first to make sure they're going to be taken care of no matter what happens, because they realize things could get bad. That's just a big example right here of him putting his friendship first, despite Jonathan's position. Especially, we talked a little about last week how there's the, oh, well, maybe I can do this to put his throne first, basically. He actually did. It was one thing to actually talk about it last week, how he could throw, David to the dogs here and there. It was one thing to mention it. But Jonathan, and we kind of hinted at it, but we never actually put Jonathan in that situation, but God did that for us. Jonathan is in that situation where he has to put him first, even though basically it was him or the throne. Like we talked about last week, Jonathan could have turned David into Saul, or he could have lied and be like, it's fine, we're good, the arrows right here. David could have come out to hiding and Saul could have killed him right there on the spot. But no, Jonathan cared more about David than he did the throne. That worldly thing didn't matter to him. He cared more about the friendship. Saul, on the other hand, didn't have that vibe. He didn't care about what David had done. He wanted the throne. He wanted his family. He cared too much about it. This was important to him. He's like, this is where it's going to be. I want this throne. He was incredibly selfish. He was willing to kill David with no evidence at all behind him, an innocent man in front of all these people, no matter how the people glorified him. He was willing to do it because he wanted the throne. He didn't care about the glory of God. He didn't care about oaths. He wanted it. Obviously, we talked a lot about in the past how Saul was very selfish. He didn't care about these things. He just wanted the greatness for him. And this exemplifies he's willing to kill an innocent man who did nothing, despite what everyone tells him, because he wants the throne that badly, even after his son explains how loyal David is to him. That is how deep that goes. That is an intense story of bromance, in my opinion. Yes, I chose that word very carefully. Bromance. It's a great thing. We talked a lot about fellowship, and I think, or we talked about how important it is having someone like that, willing to put you above them, willing to encourage you in your walk, or willing to put you down when you're not doing the right thing because they care about you that much. And I think that's what Jonathan did. He cared about him so much, he's willing to put his throne aside to make sure David is taken care of, to do what God wants him to do. Especially, we talked a lot about how Jonathan probably suspected people may want David to be king. He realized his father is not right. So, you know what? I'm going to be humble enough to admit that David maybe is the right guy for this. Maybe he is the right one. I'm going to put him first, put him above me. And of course, David is willing to do that at the same time. He's willing to put Jonathan and his family first. They made that agreement no matter what happens. I want to make sure that your family is taken care of. That is my prayer for you guys. It's basically a continuation from last week, but actually seeing and hearing it in Scripture. Now it's right here, that exact example of doing that, that y'all have someone who's willing to put you first. At the same time, you are willing to put others first. Out of the strength of fellowship, recognizing that God put you guys together, especially right now. Guys, this whole thing of fellowship is so important. It is massive. We're still talking online. We're probably going to do it next week. We're still meeting for church tonight. I'll get on that later on. Sunday morning, for Easter. all that. We're not going to be able to hang out for a little bit longer, guys. And that's my prayer for you guys, is that y'all have that friend you can count on, that y'all can still, even during this time, y'all can still FaceTime, build that fellowship, because that's important. Look what it did. And learn to put them first, recognizing that God is between that, just like Jonathan and David did. That is my prayer for you guys, of course. And just to kind of top things off, I talked a little bit about how this past weekend, the fellowship groups met, girls on Sundays at 5:30, boys 1 o'clock on Saturdays. If you want to be a part of that to help that, please reach out to me or Blake. We'll send you the information. We'll get you guys connected. Because like I said last week, I'll probably say it every week till this whole thing blows over. That is what our church is about. That's what our church is good at, having fellowship with each other, spending time with each other. So that's something I want y'all to do, and I'm really happy that we're doing that right now. I know boys had a good group and the girls had a good group, so I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to do in the future. Please, if you want to get connected in that group, let me know. I'm super excited that we're able to do this. I'm excited that we have the position that we're able to do this. Praise God for that sort of thing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end a prayer, and I'm going to have a couple announcements real quick. So, dear God, oh God, we love you so much. And oh God, we thank you that, like Jonathan and David, that we're able to have, even right now, that ability to have fellowship with each other, that bond, and we're able to put each other first in such a way. I pray that if we're not, we're able to learn that. We're able to learn the importance of that, what a true fellowship with you in the center of it is like. Learning to put them first for their own good, or worse, being able to knock them down. Making sure that they're okay, and trying to enforce them in their path that you have for them. Not their own path, your path for them. God, that is my prayer. And I pray that, especially now that Easter's coming up and we're still going to be stuck at home, that we're able to embrace that and still be with each other in a way that only you can do, God. And I pray for everyone at home listening right now, spending time with each other, that they're still able to get connected and feel you, and that whatever fears they may have during this whole virus, that you just chase away, that you realize that you, even though that things look scary and grim, that you are still working and you are still doing a lot of good from it. I pray for that, God. In your glorious name I pray. Amen. So guys, real quick, I'm going to end with this. Like I said, those community groups, please give me a shout if you'd like to be a part of those. We got the 3 challenges that I mentioned. I know I said I had 2, but I added that 3rd one last minute. So 1, I want to see kind of crazy diet you guys having, some of the snacks that you guys are destroying. Number 2, I want to see what you guys are doing with your pets. Boys kind of had a field day with that during our community groups. I want to see what the boys are doing. And lastly, of course, number 3, I'm going to put it up real quick. That really long word that I honestly only put it up here because I realized I couldn't say it, but I wanted you guys to see it. This one right here, that's supposed to be, basically that is defined as a fear of long words. The guy did be a troll. I want to see someone try to say that. I really want to see somebody try to say that. Send that in. I'll put all the stuff on Facebook later this afternoon. Try to say that word. Picture of something with your pets. I know some of your parents texted me photos. I'm totally okay with that. I'm on board with that. And 3, what kind of crazy diet you guys have. Like I said, I heard pizza rolls, heard lots of candy, maybe more soda than necessary. So that is something I'd like to see. So please send that in, guys. And of course, Thursday, tonight, 7 o'clock, Facebook Live and YouTube, we are going to be doing I'm going to take over to the word because that's really distracting. Sorry, wrong one. Get rid of that word. Okay, tonight, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, we are going to have our Passover service, 7 o'clock. We're going to do the Lord's Supper after that. I encourage you guys to take part in that. No watch parties or anything. Pastor Rick said that this past week. We're just going to take part. We're going to be with each other on that. We have a moment to place prayer requests, of course. We'll be praying for them as a staff and as elders. Please put that on as a group. We'll be praying for it. It's a great way to spend time with each other. Passover service tonight, online, today, Thursday, 7 o'clock. And of course, Easter service this coming Sunday morning. So thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. I miss you all like crazy. Can't wait for us all to meet again. Take care. We'll be back at this next week, same time. But don't forget, we got Sunday morning Bible study, 9:30. And then, of course, we got service at 10:30. All that's going to be online. Next week, same time, same place. Coming from Richardson, Texas, Thursday, 2 o'clock. This is Mike from the Core Hour signing out. You guys take care. God bless.